Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 93. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. How could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This is the last week, the last Models and Memories of 2022. It is the week after Christmas, and oh, what a Christmas it was. Although not super filled with war games, I did play tons and tons of board games. Actually, I've been playing tons and tons of a game called Root, which is a really, really fun asymmetrical board game that my nemesis Sean introduced me to. But it's really fun. He also often wins, but it's really, really cute. It's like a board game, and you have these little woodland critters, and everybody has a faction. I play the birds, and sometimes I always lose, but actually I've never won. But I always lose, and I always lose in the single digits. I think the board goes up to 20 points? And I always end the game with like 4 or 5 because the birds are a rough faction because they are the only faction that can actually go backwards in points. And boy do I go backwards in points a lot. But yeah, Root, really, really fun. But speaking of Christmas, I may have purchased a couple of models. A whole bunch of Star Wars Legion Imperials. I basically got a whole nother Star Wars Legion Imperial army, and I already have a Star Wars Legion Imperial army, but I want a horde. I love the Imperials from Star Wars. I collect the Star Wars Imperial Lego minifigures, and I want a big bucket of Stormtroopers, and I actually got a big bucket of Stormtroopers. I think I have 4 squads of standard issue Stormtroopers for my Star Wars Legion army. My Rebel armies, I'm gonna consider them done. I have 1 model left to paint for them, and it's the big party bus, but after that, I'm going hard into the Imperials, the bad guys. Ooh, and speaking of what I did over Christmas, I was visiting family, but of course I can't just visit family and like stare at my mom. I have to actually be working on some models. And so I brought my Sylvaneth battle force, and I put together the entire battle force, who actually went together really nicely. The Sylvaneth are an engineering marvel. Like, I've been putting together mostly Games Workshop stuff with a smattering of other games in there, and man, Games Workshop, love them or hate them, can they make a model? Cause holy cow. So I'm holding up 2 Tree Lords, actually a Tree Lord and a Tree Lord Ancient, and this is the exact same kit, but 2 completely different poses. It's absolutely genius. And it's kind of sad that some kits get the genius treatment and some kits don't. I'm thinking about the what are they called? The giants, the Age of Sigmar giants, and how like 6 giants share the same exact legs. And I get that it's a little easier to make trees look unique than it is to have trees reuse parts of the same kit where the giants all reuse the exact same legs. And so Sons of Bahamut. And so all of your giants from the Sons of Bahamut share the same leg pose, and it looks kind of lame. But the way that Games Workshop engineered this kit, it's basically, think about Stormtrooper armor. I wonder why I'm thinking of Stormtrooper armor. So the white parts are, the torso and the legs and the arms and the head, and they're all shared between these 2 kits. But the in-between parts of the armor, the black undersuit of the Stormtrooper, are all unique parts. And so, all of their little knees and elbows and stuff are all different pieces of plastic. And so you get really, really unique poses. There's actually 3 different poses in the box. And if you have a little green stuff, you could get any pose you want out of these Tree Lords. And it's so, so cool. I think these models are also kind of the perfect size, not too big, not too small. If they were like Imperial Knight sized, it's fun to have really big models like that. But I think that these little guys, probably 4 inches tall, maybe almost closing in on 5 with these little antennas. But I really, really like them. I'm super excited for my Sylvaneth. I may have ordered lots and lots and lots of basing materials to make this army super, super unique. But yeah, I am in love with the Sylvaneth from Age of Sigmar. I really like Age of Sigmar. It's a great, great palette cleanser from 40K because I've been playing 40K for like 8 or 9 years. Know everything about it, read all of the books, read all of the codexes, collect almost all of the armies. But the Age of Sigmar is just such a breath of fresh air. Although speaking of fantasy, I was also this Christmas putting together a whole bunch of miniatures for Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings. I'm working my way through all of the units for Old Dominion, which is the zombified Roman legionaries. And those are some pretty cool models too. Although, I gotta say, the Games Workshop models versus those models, they also have 30 more years of engineering and miniature knowledge, but kind of a cut above. But speaking of Games Workshop, they actually came out with a new miniature, which I think is absolutely lovely, but I hate it. Azrael revealed, unwrapping a chapter master cloaked in secrets. The new Azrael in Primaris, Primaris body and Primaris armor. It is a absolutely lovely, beautifully, faithfully recreated miniature. Azrael is one of the more unique old school Space Marine captain chapter master units. Really, really cool old miniature. The Dark Angels always kind of had a weird thing. They also had the unit called the Fallen, where they're wearing a cloak on the outside of their Space Marine armor, and it always made it look like they had little boy legs underneath their cloaks because, their torso is a barrel. It's basically Buzz Lightyear, and so that looks okay, but the cloak flowing over the legs never really looked great. It kind of looked like they didn't have power armored legs. That's the only real flaw of the old model. It also came with, the Keeper of Secrets, his little minion friend, who may literally be a minion because you can't see him underneath the spooky secret cloak. And he carries his helmet that has the humongous wings on it, which is something I love about 40K, is that it's absolutely ridiculous and dumb. Every time Azrael has to walk through a door, he's got to bow and then walk in head first so that his giant winged helmet doesn't smack the door sill. But the old model is absolutely lovely. And the new model is incredibly faithful to the old model, all the way down to the identical back banner. Back banners are not something we see nearly enough in Space Marines. Really big thing in 2nd and 3rd edition, and then when 40K got a little bit more grim, dark, and realistic, the back banners kind of disappeared for the most part. But I love that the back banner is back on Azrael. And I think every single Space Marine chapter master should have a big old back banner. Like Tor Garadon or, who's the salamander guy? He's really Adrax Agatone. Those models should have giant back banners. So if you have those models out there, give them a big old sexy back banner and get a nice decal or some freehanding on there. It'll add so much presence to your Space Marine army. It'll be a focal point because it's going to be, number one, those models are taller than regular Space Marines, and then having that size doubled is going to be a lovely, beautiful focal point to your Space Marine army. I cannot recommend back banners enough. They're super silly, but they're super thematic and wonderful. The power sword is gorgeous. His little buddy is friendly. His face, he has the most normal man face of any Space Marine I think I've ever seen, but that's fine because you can actually replace his head with the helmet, and then you can have his little buddy carry the scabbard of his power sword. Really, really nice little thing there. You didn't have that option with the old one because it was all a single part piece, but now this model, having that option right there, lovely, beautiful. But I did mention that I hated this model. And I do. This model is absolutely garbage, and that is because they modified his combi bolter. And mega nerd thing incoming. So Azrael had probably one of the coolest bolters in all of Warhammer 40K because it was a bullpup bolter. And a bullpup is a type of gun where the magazine and action is located behind the trigger, where almost all firearms that is located in the front of the trigger. And so I just loved it. It was such a cool little thing to have a bullpup bolter. It's a super custom, really, really cool thing with the magazine located in the back. And I just love the idea of him slapping in a new magazine. A little awkward on a Space Marine, especially because they have their gigantic shoulder pads. In Rogue Trader, 1st and 2nd edition and 3rd edition, all Space Marine bolters actually did come with a little stock. And you could not use that stock if the Space Marine was pointing his bolter because there wasn't enough room between their hand and their shoulder, because their shoulder their shoulder ended right about here, and then their hand was right here. So you actually always had to cut off that stock. But it was such a cool and unique thing, and I just loved that bullpup bolter, and it's kind of got a cut in so that his shoulder fits well with it. It made the gun extra long. It reminded me a lot of the weapons from Starship Troopers, the movie, because those were also bullpups. I don't remember if those were actually functional firearms or what they were actually made out of, but I loved the bullpup bolter, combi bolter with an underslung plasma gun. The new one, they chickened out. It's a normal bolter, but they kept a little bit of the modification by having the magazine awkwardly sticking out of the side. Like a Sten gun. It's really, really lame. I mean, obviously it's completely fine and no one in the world will care. But I care. It's just, they had something so cool and unique. Azrael had the only bolter in all of 40K that was like that. It was like that in the artwork in the old miniature. It looked really cool, and it gave mega nerds like me just something to chew on while they were appreciating a miniature. And now they're like, just put on a normal combi bolter and we'll have the magazine sticking out the side like a Grey Knight. And it doesn't look good on the Grey Knights either. I think it's really lame. And now instead of slapping a new magazine right into his armpit and having the gun jerk and be ready to rock and roll, now he's got to tilt it, and then you take the bolter, stick it in the side, and then it's just not good. I mean, it's fine, but I really would have liked a Primaris, Games Workshop 2020 perfected Azrael's custom bolter, but he has a new combi bolter and it's fine. But yeah, overall the model is a 10 out of 10, but the gun is a 0 out of 10. So that means that the model is a 5 out of 10, which means that it's just average. It's just completely average. Leave a comment below if you think I'm being utterly ridiculous, or if I'm totally right and Games Workshop should have kept their grubby paws off of Azrael's custom combi bolter. But moving aside from making fun of Games Workshop, which is always fun to do, I want to talk about something a little bit more serious. Hardcore Miniatures. Hardcore Miniatures is a miniature making company that I really like. I have bought tons of their miniatures before, and actually early this year, I was in talks with them to do a video together, but unfortunately those plans fell through because the world got in the way. You see, they're based in Russia. You can imagine what happened. Their business was basically shut down overnight, but even worse than their business being disrupted, 2 of their team are living in Ukraine. They've been trying to help their Ukrainian friends as much as they can, and they've created a new miniature to help, the Space Cossack #1. This model is based on the Zaporozhian Cossacks of the 17th century, and all proceeds from purchasing this model as an STL from their website are going to go to help their Ukrainian friends. So you can follow the link in the description below to check out that miniature. Moving right along, I am all out of things to talk about, but Nick has actually given me some notes of things to talk about in this episode. Last year, around this time, I gave myself some New Year's resolutions, some New Year's hobby resolutions, and I said them in that video, and I promptly forgot everything I talked about and never gave it another thought for the entire year. So, Nick has written down exactly what I said, and now I get to see if how I did on my hobby New Year's resolutions. Number 1, I will play 40K. Does Kill Team count? Necrons and Black Templar will get tabletop time. Or maybe I'll get enough Orcs and Genestealer cults to play with them too. So I didn't manage to play a single game of Warhammer 40K 9th edition. I have some of the codexes, I've read the rule book, but sadly, I did not get a chance to play big 40K. I played lots of games this year and like 100 games of Kill Team. Kill Team games are they take a lot less time and a lot less energy, and so it's easier to get lots of games of Kill Team in, but no, I did not get to play big 40K. And, you will see battle reports come to the channel. So, we tried our best. We actually filmed some test stuff earlier this year. The tricky thing with battle reports, and maybe this is just us overthinking it, but we want our battle reports to be a little something special because we both are big 40K fans and big tabletop miniatures fans, but we don't like to watch battle reports because These games are fun to play, and I think they're really fun to play, especially because they tickle the general in all of us. Like they're really tactical, and they require a lot of thinking and planning and strategizing and organizing. And those things aren't really fun to watch, in my opinion. Obviously, there's lots of channels out there that do a wonderful job of doing battle reports. But when I watch those channels, I watch the beginning to see what armies they're taking, and then I skip all the way to the end to see what actually, who won the game. I just find it so hard to follow along with what's happening and what things are doing well and what things are doing poorly and what each dice roll means and what stratagems are being used. So we want to come up with a really interesting way of doing our battle reports where no matter if you're really following along or if you care, there's still plenty of entertainment value and interesting things to look at. And so we will do battle reports. I promise we're doing it. We've bought equipment. We're working on it. But we really want our battle reports to be something special. And so we're working on it, folks. Oh boy, it looks like there's one more. I want to downsize in the miniatures I own because it's getting ridiculous. So this year I painted 523 miniatures. Actually, it might have been 532 miniatures, more than last year by over 100. And I sold 25 because I sold that squad army. I definitely see what 2021 Jay was getting at. I do have so many miniatures, and it really is a challenge. It's like a weird thing about squirrels is that their brains actually grow throughout the year so that they can remember where they hid all of their little nuts. And then in the spring when they dig up all the nuts and eat them, or I think they eat them before the winter. I forget, I don't have a great knowledge of squirrels, but I know that their brains swell when they need to know where to hide their nuts, and then they shrink after they've eaten the nuts and they need to start over. And I feel like my brain has swelled trying to keep up with the thousands of miniatures I own. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I need this one model. Which box did I put it in? When was the last time I saw it? It really is a mental load trying to keep track of everything. That being said, they're all my models and I want to keep them all, and every single one of them is special. But yeah, it's a challenge. Actually, moving into our new studio space, I bought hundreds of tote boxes, and so right now my organization is decent. I have things at least broken up by army. So if I need some Sisters of Battle models, I can go to the Sisters of Battle bin, and it's reasonable. But yeah, one day, maybe like, when we're not doing the channel anymore or something, I'll just give away or sell all of my models because it really is ridiculous. But yeah, what are these other roads? I'm gonna get rid of anything that isn't built. No, those are my models. I'm not giving them to anybody. When I sell the models, I'll put the money in a jar to buy Arena Rex models. Oh, Arena Rex! I haven't thought about Arena Rex in a long time. That's a beautiful game. I wish I got to demo it at Adepticon. I'll definitely demo it this year if they're there at the event again. But it's a lovely little miniature game with beautiful boutique models. Like, I actually own one of the models, and they did it in a really smart way. It's a warrior riding a giant scorpion, and the scorpion and the rider are made out of resin, but the weapons of the rider are made out of metal, and that's really nice, which means that giant spear is not a super thin, delicate piece of resin. It's actually a nice piece of metal, and so if I do break it, which I will because I'm me, it's just gonna bend a little and I can bend it back, as opposed to snapping and then good luck gluing the two butts of a tiny broken spear back together. It's basically impossible. So yeah, okay. I don't have any extra cash, but maybe I just buy Arena Rex models because I want them. Ah, man, 2021 J had good taste. Yeah, downsizing miniatures. It is smart. I have tons and tons of models, really because this is my job and this is what I do. But I do see the beauty of like, this is my Space Marine army. I have it, I play with it. I also have, a copy of Root and its expansions because I play board games with the boys. And I also have some Star Wars Legion because I play Star Wars Legion with Sean on the weekends. Like, that would be beautiful just to have it all perfect and done, and it's not overwhelming. But there is also some fun in the overwhelmingness of it. But yeah. I suppose, so I didn't achieve any of my New Year's resolutions. but let me make some new ones for the new year. You know what? I'm going to put I will play 40K back on the list, and I'll put battle reports back on the list because those things are going to happen. I'm sure I said they are going to happen last year too, but you can believe me this time. Yeah, I really want to play 40K. I have super fond memories of playing 6th edition, 7th edition, and early 8th edition Warhammer 40K. Maybe I'll just miss out on 9th edition, and it's been 3 years. Games Workshop's on a 3-year cycle. 10th edition is almost certainly coming out in the summer of this upcoming year, and so I will get into 40K with the new edition, and it'll be glorious and it'll be lovely. I also want to play lots of other games like Arena Rex, Malifaux, Dead Zone, bunch of Star Wars Legion, and lots of board games, because board games are just a hoot. So yeah, definitely will be getting in some games of 40K, and you guys are going to get to see those games of 40K because we will be doing battle reports. And is there anything else I want to give myself as a New Year's challenge that Nick can dig up a year later and make fun of me for? You know what? One thing I would really like to do is get out from under my pile of shame. I've been doing a decent job. I paint more than I buy by a slim margin, but it's totally doable. I paint so much. I would love to have everything in these tote bins off to my side. I would love to have everything that's gray be painted and finished. I think I will do a video this year, an updated pile of shame showing off all of the crap that I have. And then by the end of the year, this is impossible. By the end of the year, I will have everything either painted or gone because I like new stuff. Everybody likes new stuff, and you don't feel that same connection with the new stuff that's now old because you've already bought it and it's sitting in your house. So I think I also just need to, because I literally forget what I own sometimes. Putting things into tote bins, literally I was finding things and I'm like, why are these 4 orc boys just sitting here? When did I buy these? Why do I have these? Where did they come from? Where are they going? Like, I have tons, and that's really what I have. That's my pile of shame, is just junk. Most of the squads and armies and things that I've bought are built and done and ready to go. A lot of it is just like, I have Saint Celestine, but like not her Zephrams. You need those things. It's a set. And so I need to do a lot of like, I can't use this, so I'll give it away or sell it. And okay, I have a box of Cabalite Warriors. Build Cabalite Warriors, paint them up, play them in Kill Team. Easy. But yeah, one model for Arena Rex, not as easy. I need to at least get whatever their version of a starter set is, or whatever their version of 2 forces, so that I can actually play those on the tabletop, because I have so much stuff. And I want to play so many games, but it's really, really hard when a lot of my collection is just a smattering of things from here and there. So yeah, I will conquer my pile of shame this year. It sounds really easy while I'm sitting here right now, but my brain is flying through all of the images of all of the things that are in these tote boxes, but it can be done. It definitely can be done. Ooh, and I am going to be entering Golden Demon, and I want every single thing that I enter in Golden Demon to get a little pin. The pin is the step 1 of winning a Golden Demon. So anybody can enter anything that they want into any of the categories. I think there's 12 categories for Golden Demon, although I can only enter 11 because one of them is for kids. And I don't know if I can pull off being a child. Maybe if I shave, I can get away with entering the Young Bloods category. But so the step 1 of their judging is some things get pins and some things don't. The next stage is you get a recommendation card or an accommodation card. You get a little card that says you're in the running to win a Golden Demon. And then of course you win a Golden Demon, and then if you win a Golden Demon, you might get a Slayer Sword. And so I want every single thing I enter. I now don't think I'm going to manage to enter every single category, but I'm going to enter a lot of them, and I want every single thing I enter to be good enough to get the pin. And then I'm going to put all of those pins on my apron, and it's going to be lovely. So those are my New Year's resolutions for this year. Oh God, I'm sorry, Jay. Future Jay, this is gonna be a problem. But anyway, that's what I'm planning on doing. But if you guys are planning on doing something like supporting a certain creator and you've already gotten the Space Cossack #1, you might consider supporting us over on Patreon. Over there, we have new terrain packs available monthly. This month, we have the Wasteland cars ready to drive donuts around your board. It's actually the last chance to get the Wasteland cars. And to new signups, we have a welcome pack that includes Dawn of War-inspired Space Marine, Imperial Guard, and Eldar Terrain, all hosted by Comic Games and Things. We make one extra episode of Eons of Battle every single week where we take a look at our viewers' miniatures and give them some critiques and ideas of how to improve their painting, and we host live Discord hangouts. We also have painting PDF guides and a brand new tier where you can join the ranks of my Black Templar Legion and get your name on one of my Space Marines. What a wonderful hobby year it has been. I painted a lot, I learned a lot of things, I got to play a bunch of games, and even though I didn't nail every single one of my New Year's resolutions, it's fine because I am very much looking forward to the future. Bye-bye.